is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
We have some interesting updates on the future of Michael Thomas with the Saints, but we start with the future of Luka Doncic with the Mavericks. Luka signed a 5-year, $207 million extension. Jalen Rose, what do you think about this big deal for Luka Doncic?
It feels good. Yeah. You should be extremely happy if you're a fan of the Dallas Mavs. But you know who's going to be even more happy? Mark Cuban. Because they did something that I would do that you said you wouldn't do. We gassing up the plane. We going to his hometown. We gonna make sure we not docu-signing, we not faxing, we not overnighting. We gonna make sure this deal gets done. And Mark Cuban is there, Captain Dirk is there, the head coach Jason Kidd is there. But here's what I want y'all to pay attention to. My guy, Michael Finley, always the shadow behind Mark Cuban. I played against that guy in 9th grade, and he had a Jerry curl and was doing work with it. He gonna make sure that Luka signs on the contract. So he had to be on the plane to make sure that the deal got inked.
Absolutely. Now, Luka Doncic is the most important player for the Mavericks. And you look at these numbers, he's been so impressive. But, Jalen, now the time is to ask this question. You've got Doncic locked up for 5 years. Who are you going to put around him? How are they going to turn this team from a middle team in the Western Conference to a top team in the Western Conference?
Well, he's a complete player. And when you're getting 25, 7, and 7 your first 3 years, and the only other person that has done that is the big O, like, that's holy grail type stuff, family. And in building out your roster, of course you want to get defenders, in particular, not only on the ball, but on the wing, because you don't want him responsible for trying to slow down Dame Lillard or Paul George. You don't want that necessarily to be his responsibility, for example, or a Donovan Mitchell when they play. I really like that they re-signed Tim Hardaway, who had a terrific season last year, shown that he could be a prolific scorer in the game and be like a guy that can get you around 20 when you need it. Finney Smith made some big-time threes last year, and obviously he's going to give you effort. But the elephant in the room happens to be a unicorn. At least that's what they called him in New York City. And that's Kristaps Porzingis. Last year, he was not the guy that he was previously in the bubble. I believe he's going to return more to his unique form that we first saw. A guy that can score 20, a guy that's going to make threes at 7'3", and also catch lobs and block a couple of shots, but also be used on the post. Here's what happens in professional sports when you have a great player like Luka. When everybody else is in and out of the lineup, we got to just keep doing what we doing because we know he's going to be here every day. And that's what ended up happening to Porzingis. He dealt with some injuries. He dealt with some inconsistent play. And they like, you know what we know we can always do? Give the ball to Luka. And so that's what they ended up doing. I think they'll do more this year with Jason Kidd to start getting him involved. And the Dallas Mavs, while they're not a contending team in the West, I see them as a 5 through 8 type of team, and that's going to be separated by like 1 or 2 games. But again, anytime you got Luka, you got a chance. Truly special player.
Especially in a 7-game series. And one thing I want to talk about is I didn't love it when Mark Cuban had to address the fact that KP and Luka had some sort of skirmishes and didn't always see eye to eye. Do you think these chemistry problems can be fixed in the Dallas Mavericks locker room?
Oh, yeah, easy. You know what to fix KP's problem? Give him the ball. He'll be a lot happier. Put him on a post. That'll make him a lot happier. And you know what'll make Luka more happy? Is if he can stay healthy and be a productive player. That's just how this works. It's competitive. It's professional sports. And us dumb Americans just assume that since they're both international players, oh, they're going to get along. Oh, man, they got to be the best of friends. They're buddies. You know, it takes time to earn the trust of a great player like Luka. Hey, dog, let me tell you, I got a chance to play against some of the greatest players to ever do it and play against them. But there's also a level of pressure there when Mark Jackson, one of the top 5 assist guys of all time, is watching a single double happen. You know you can throw it to Reggie because you know what you're going to get. But when he throw it to me and I miss, he's not happy. Like, that's pressure, dog. You see what I'm saying? And Porzingis has to find a way to still play his game. I love how Chris Middleton truly elevated in that role. Hopefully, Kristaps Porzingis can do his version of that with the Dallas Mavs.
Well, Luka is going to stay for the Mavericks as a star there, but the Saints have a star wide receiver.
Keep talking about my squad. Our personnel ages, the way he plays, he stays injured, we're past our time in this league, etc., etc., etc. Keep that same narrative energy when it begins. That's all I ask. Hashtag thank you. So does LeBron know something that the rest of the sports world does not? Because on paper, the Lakers roster does look, well, old. 8 of their current 12 players are 32 years old or older. 5 of them, James, Anthony, Ariza, Howard, and Marc Gasol, are 35 or older. And with 3 roster spots left to fill, the average player age on the team is 31 years, 302 days old. If the 2021-22 season started today, the Lakers would have the oldest roster in NBA history. But with age comes experience, and there's no denying that on this Lakers roster. According to Elias Sports Bureau, LA now has 5 players who are 8-time or more All-Stars. And of the top 8 active players in the league with the highest points per game averages, the Lakers have 4 of them, including Carmelo Anthony.
I like it. I like when people talk about the age. It gives a better story. I think people forget at the end of the day it's about basketball. You got to know how to play basketball. I think that's what we bring at this point in time. Our talent, our skill, but also our experience.
Joining me now to talk about it is ESPN NBA reporter Tim Bontemps. Tim, when you look at the Lakers' current roster, what sticks out to you?
Well, Lisa, I think you summed it up pretty well. They're old, right? You go up and down the roster. These are big-name players who've had great careers, but they're old guys. Carmelo Anthony has played for 15 years or almost 20 years in the league. Dwight Howard has played 15 years in the league. Marc Gasol has played over 10 years in the league. Trevor Ariza has played 15 years in the league. I mean, these are guys who were playing in the conference finals and the NBA finals a decade or more ago, and they're hoping to do it again here in the 2021-22 season. And look, the Lakers are making a huge bet on that experience paying off. We see time and again in the playoffs, teams go deep in the playoffs because they have old, veteran, experienced rosters. This, though, is the absolute extreme of that end, and we'll see if the Lakers can have the success they hope to.
Yeah, well, Carmelo says he likes it, that it's about being able to play basketball. Are you buying that?
I mean, he certainly has to say that, right? Because that is what the Lakers have in their holster, is that they have been in every situation, and these guys are comfortable really in any situation on the court. Carmelo Anthony has won gold medals with Team USA. He's played in the conference finals with the Denver Nuggets. He's been in the playoffs a ton of times. Dwight Howard led the Orlando Magic to to the NBA Finals. He won a championship a couple years ago with the Lakers. LeBron James has been through every situation you can imagine. So that experience is what they're going to lean on because, as you pointed out, they're not going to have the same kind of youthful legs and energy that some of these other opponents are going to have against them, both in the Western Conference and across the league. But they're going to rely on that experience when they go into the playoffs and hopefully, for their sake, make the kind of deep playoff run to a championship that they want to have.
And all sports are different. Certainly all athletes are different. And athletes have found different ways of prolonging to take care of their bodies. When does age really become an issue in the NBA?
Well, I think it depends on the guy to a degree, but, LeBron James has certainly pushed that boundary as far as he possibly can, still being arguably the best player in the league in his, mid-30s now at 36 years old. But, generally the rest of this team is kind of an example of when age starts to catch up with guys in their early to mid-30s. Guys like Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade, they fell off a few years ago, right, as LeBron James kept going. And while Carmelo has bounced back with the Portland Trailblazers the past couple of years and become a nice role player, he is not the same star level player that obviously LeBron James has managed to maintain to this point in his career. So, look, these guys are going to come in on minimum contracts for a reason. They're guys that have been through a lot of years in the NBA. They don't have the same legs, but as Carmelo said, they know how to play. They have that experience, and they're hoping to translate that to the court in ways that allow them to beat teams that might have more youthful energy and activity on the court that they won't be able to match.
Yeah, so in your opinion, Tim, can experience and talent trump youth and talent?